run away! Please! Quickly! Out of my sight!
What? What happened? Hey!
I told you to run away. Don't complain if you get killed.
So this one's kind of weird.
Well, you can't talk if you're dead.
Evil Zone is a PS1 anime fighter, but not in the way that you expect it to be. What makes it interesting is the amount of depth in its gameplay, despite the minimalistic control scheme, the flashy and dramatic animations that are tied to many of the game's moves, and its campy-ass presentation that parodies a bunch of 90s anime tropes. Each character is like a different archetype with their own little miniseries, and each program has their own unique presentation, complete with their own theme, title cards, icats, and episode previews. You got your henshin hero, the battle shonen warrior, a drama with psychological themes, and don't forget to send in a letter requesting advice from this dude's self-help show.
Drink lots of milk. Drink a gallon a day.
Yo, you know I had to check this out as a cereal connoisseur, and that Saturday morning anime feel you get from the game's visuals also extends into the gameplay. During a fight, the game's camera switches angles each time certain moves are performed, so pair that with the many spectacularly overdone sequences that you're bound to see a lot of, and it kind of imitates a battle that you would see in an actual anime. And you thought Tech Romancer was an anime-ass fighting game? But yeah, whatever. Maybe all that weeby shit turns you away, person who's watching this. But I think it's all done in a pretty self-aware manner. The game knows what it is and plays it out to a point where it kinda feels surreal at times, especially with the execution of the English dialogue. Cause look, I could either play the original Japanese version,
ゼロ着断罪バーアルティ・アルラーゼル登場に断罪バースト覇王の力が罪を断つ完全懲悪断罪バー
or I could play
Special Inspector Danzibar was summoned to the strange world of Icoseru. New program starting next week will feature Danzibar, the ultimate hero. Episode 1.
The power of a supreme ruler destroys evil! The ultimate hero! Danzaiba!
the one with the Colonel from Metal Gear Solid narrating Bay the Cat's adventures in the superhero tokusatsu through a shitty Xbox 360 mic with mad static that unapologetically blasts through your speakers and has horrendous audio mixing, even by PS1 standards.
I can't eat if you keep staring at me like that.
It's loud as hell. I actually had to level it out a bit so your ears wouldn't be violated.
Danzibar, get a hold of yourself!
I must admit though, the sound of it kinda makes me reminisce of them Black Ops 2 days, when I'd be in the lobby with a grown-ass man, they'd be talking that shit to me in a very similar audio quality.
When I was single, I drank like a fish.
They even got the dog on the mic and shit. For real though, where's the audio engineer for this? Did he just die in a car crash or something? It's just so ass, bro. I can barely hear the characters over their own theme songs. However, it is a kind of ass that I find endearing, cause it only adds to the ridiculousness of this game that I have a lot of appreciation for. You see, people really love to dunk on this dub back in the day. GameFAQs forums is my testament to that. And I don't know why it did, cause it's literally where most of the game's charm even comes from. I mean, just imagine how boring it would be if the localization was given a decent budget. We'd probably have to settle for some painful mediocrity, but instead, we got something so goofy that's better than whatever it was supposed to be. Maybe I'm reaching, but who knows? It could have been done on purpose. Like on the PS2, there's this game by Enix called Robot Alchemical Drive. Shares a character designer with Cowboy Bebop, and is an homage to old school Super Robot anime. This game is actually wild for reasons beyond this comparison, but I'm trying not to go on a tangent. You may have seen this clip of the bread and water soup girl, an OG girl failure, and an infamous example of bad voice acting in video games.
This morning I had some soup.
What kind of soup? What's in it?
Bread? Oh?
Now, you are overdoing.
However, what if I told you that was actually intentional? The English version's voice director, Michael Tepner, said they had a very tight budget and a turnaround time of only 2 weeks to complete the dub. So basically, he decided to just say fuck. Well, he didn't say fuck it, but he said we'll just go over the top like an old Godzilla movie and may as well make it as campy as possible. The game itself is... that shit's alright. But it will probably been forgotten if not for its silly voice acting, which is why people even bring it up to this day. So in the end, I think it was the right call for them to go all out with the cheesiness. It helped the game establish some sort of legacy. It's something that I'd also like to think is the case for Evil Zone, because it just fits the game so perfectly. You can't tell me this doesn't sound like your typical 90s anime English dub. Almost like some 4Kids or WB Kids type shit, if you will. They even got the out-of-sync mouth
Is
movements.
anything the matter? Oh, I see. You loved him, didn't you? I owe you an apology, but I know my apology won't bring back the dead.
Sometimes their lips will keep flapping for like 10 seconds after they've already finished talking. That's authenticity. Games just don't immerse you like this anymore, man. Okay, I'll shut the fuck up. You catch my drift. The awkwardness when they speak is pretty funny, and only helped the game better achieve the vibe it was going for, if you ask me.
Don't throw a fit. You're acting like a baby.
Something that's definitely better in the original though, was the opening theme. I wish I had something interesting or insightful to say about it, but I don't, so just take a listen. The theme was just so 90s anime pop rock opening theme song type shit, yada yada. Over here we got some techno beat that's just...
This is another bang. Turn it the fuck up.
garage band material. It really don't hit the same, huh? But the visuals remain the same, portraying the colorful cast of somewhat generic trope characters that have been summoned to in order to kill Ihadoka before she escapes from her dimensional prison, called Evil Zone. The opening is pretty legit, with vocals by Masami Okui, who also did the opening theme to the classic shoujo anime, Revolutionary Girl Utena. Never seen it myself, but perhaps one of y'all will appreciate that deep cut trivia. It's animated by Studio AIC, their most known works being the Tenshi Muyo franchise and the cyberpunk anime Bubblegum Crisis. But if you want an example of something you might be familiar with, my gamer, well, they did the visuals for the FMVs in Hideo Kojima's Police Knots, starting with the 3DO port, and they will then go on to animate the first Persona 3 movie. It's funny how shit just comes around like that. So yeah, those are some fun facts. Just don't go thinking on some otaku scholar or something. Google is free, and I've only ever finished like 6 anime cause my time management is ass, and I'd rather just rewatch Fooly Cooly for like the 100th time. Alright, enough of that. I should probably show you how this game is even played already. It does have its own tutorial that looks like a 90s educational video, with wipe transitions and stuff, but it don't really teach you much. Still, it's meant to be a very easy pick up and play fighter, similar to Smash Bros, which released just a week later. They both had a simple control scheme, one button specials, and a guard button that blocks all around. But unlike Smash, Evil Zone sought to replicate the feel of a traditional fighting game, adopting their core mechanics and to build the complexities that come from them. Real shit though, this game is actually ahead of its time if you think about it. It's an accessible, no motion input fighter with a comeback mechanic and a tool that lets you skip neutral from 1999. Indeed, soon enough all our beloved fighting game series will eventually evolve into Evil Zone clones, and I cannot wait until the entire world realizes this game's prophecy, along with my role as its messenger.
I'm in the mood for a knockdown drag-out. And what do we got here?
Zero Jaku.
Okay, so Evil Zone is a 2-button fighter, but that doesn't mean there's not a decent amount of moves to work with. They're all just kinda crammed together. And the second button, I'll get to that in a minute. First things first, a backdash or forward dash is done by simply tapping the direction once, and continuously by holding it down. It doesn't get any easier than that. Then of course you can sidestep towards either direction for however much you want. Big steps. In fact, if you're riding your opponent's grill, you can also circle around them immediately for an easy throw. To jump, however, is a tad bit unusual. Most people don't even realize you have the ability to do it, or at least the people that shat all over this game didn't. Saw a few complaints about it being 3 inputs, up, square, saying it's awkward, which I guess so. Sometimes jumping is the best way to close distance in this game, and not everyone has godlike execution like me, so it'd be nice to have some more immediate access to it. Button 1 is a guard, pretty straightforward, but you can also use it to attack throws and landings. It's pretty cool seeing the personality that went into each character's block animation, like Keiya just putting his palm up, Ihadoka using her angel wings, and whatever this fool is doing. Blocking just in time will make the guard become a parry, which reflects projectiles and leaves your opponent vulnerable after a strike. Button 2 is attack, and yes, every single attack in this game is a combination of this plus a directional input. Using movement, you can throw projectiles as you take a step back, do a running attack, a leaping attack, or a sidestep one, which ain't too hard to land while evading moves since most of them have slow ass recovery. Then there's a dash attack, where you glide and charge straight towards your opponent, knocking them down on impact. You do get launched if it's blocked, but you can just take in the air, so it's whatever, it's safe. The dash attack is funny, because if both players do it around the same time, they run alongside each other in this goofy ass Sonic Adventure face-off where it becomes a mash fest to see who comes out on top. Something I find interesting is that you can actually cancel his move, no matter how early or late you are in this animation. But then you still gotta wait till a 300 frame recovery is over, so it's fucking pointless, and I'm sorry for wasting your time with that. Going back to basics, from a distance, the attack button becomes a standard projectile that you can shoot up to 3 times, with a third one knocking down. These really aren't going to kill your opponent alone though. They're mostly used as a spacing tool to set up other things. From close up, the attack button becomes a 2-hit combo, and from here you got multiple options. You can either stop since the third hit is unsafe and not guaranteed, or you can ignore what I just said and continue into it. You can also substitute that third hit with every other attack possible. Let me see, you also got a launcher that you could use for whiff punching, or when you stun somebody. But like I said, getting launched in this game is kinda meaningless since you can just take and avoid any follow-ups once you're in the air. However, let's say you do launch them and then you follow up with a dash attack. Well then you get this sequence. But if they tag, then they block all your attacks as it plays out, and then proceed to spit out a quip. My favorite line is Danzevar's, where he says, speaking of the dash attack, it gets another unique sequence when used on a stunned opponent, and this one is my favorite. The defender is desperately blasting at the attacker as they're coming for that ass, dodging each projectile with ease like some Dragon Ball shit, and yup, it becomes another mash fest. Okay, moving on to specials. This is where the cast finally starts to differ from one another moveset wise, but still nothing too drastic. Everyone's got 3 of them. Sometimes one is a homing attack, a few got command grabs, but they're usually just special projectiles that take priority over the standard ones. And at least one of them stuns, so those are the ones you want to go for. They're straight linear though, and can be easily avoided by stepping, but if you press attack twice, then you get a variation that tracks to both sides, and this is how you catch the big steppers. But then this version will no longer hit those that are in front of you. So you can see how it's kind of a commitment, deciding which one you want to use. You gotta predict your opponent's movement, and make sure you're not left wide open while pushing your projectile spam. I mean duh, typical fighting game shit, but that's pretty much the core of this one. And now for the gameplay mechanic you gotta watch out for alongside projectiles, the captures.
Log on! Sign grid!
It's what the throws are called in this game, but from any distance other than point blank, you're literally capturing your opponent by getting them to T-pose within this red ring of death. That's right, you can grab from any distance in this game. They do have a bit of startup, and the opponent needs to be standing in the circle once it closes, but oftentimes you'll get them while they're tossing a projectile or during their block stun, moments in which they can't move, you know? And now you can kinda start to see how this game is played right. You're never truly safe. There's always something that can threaten you no matter where you are. Whatever it is that you call neutral, we don't do that shit here. You're either dishing something out or you're taking it. But big deal, right? Just stay on your toes, constantly moving, and you won't get caught by some silly circle. Well, you can actually enlarge the circle to catch people who are moving, and mixing this up is how the capture mechanic becomes a legit threat. But this donut version doesn't catch them if they remain still, and has longer startup, so that leaves you wide open if you guess wrong. Oh, and you can also cancel these captures if you feel like playing a bit of mind games. The game gives you a very small window to attack them, just as the circle closes, and I think you can mash it, but I don't know, it's pretty inconsistent for me. I'd say these over-the-top animations are the highlight of these battles, like Midori jumping you with Shadow Clone Jutsu, Danzever calling in a whole-ass satellite strike from Sengri, and Keiya summoning a goddamn alien chest burster out of you by tossing a card. This man Keiya is so cold, bro. Finally, it's time to talk about the red crystals, the comeback mechanic and resource that your life is directly tied to. So check it. You get one by filling up the yellow meter to the top of your life bar, and these can be charged up by holding down the attack button. So typically, you get the chance to charge up a bit right after you score a knockdown. You can hold up to 3, and there's only 2 ways to consume them. You can buff up at least one of your specials to give it more damage, a bigger homing hitbox, and sometimes change up the entire properties. For example, Setsuna's Firebird attack becomes a whole flock that's like full screen and makes the frame rate drop. And of course, the supers. You shoot one of your red crystals and trigger a powerful move, although the rate at which they travel is extremely slow. Some of these look cooler than the captures, like Setsuna cloning herself, and Lai forming a heptagram and stabbing himself in the stomach. Edgy. Notice how the amount you need to charge for a yellow crystal is dependent on your remaining health, so while it takes forever to charge one at the beginning of the match, once you're a few hits away from death, it's damn near instantaneous. So at this point, your plan will be to just say fuck and spam as much beefed up specials and supers as you can. Or if you're really desperate, just spam Setsunas in the hopes of crashing the game or preventing yourself from catching the L. And that's pretty much it. Congratulations, homie. You now have a bachelor's degree in an old niche fighting game that nobody gives a fuck about. But hey, it's probably just as useless as the one you went to college for. Yeah, this ain't as technical as say Ergites, but it really does have more going on than anyone would ever give it credit for. It's kind of funny that having this many options crammed into these 2 buttons kind of defeats the purpose of keeping the game simple though. I mean, it still is a pretty basic game, it's just, I don't know man, it's just in this weird spot. There's more to be seen from the gameplay than most people will imply, but still very play by the rules type of game, and there's not much room for expression if you know what I mean. Characters play the same, combos ain't even real, shit's kinda dry. I think this game is nice as a novelty. After you see all the animations and check out its character story modes, there's not much else to it. I say this because as much as I like to look at these games in a positive light, since some weren't given the chance back then, I still gotta uphold my credibility, you know? I don't wanna gas this game up like it's low-key the best fighter on the PS1, just for you to get bored of it in less than a few hours. So you would think that a game designed like that just isn't built for competitive longevity, right? But they actually run it every year at Games Done Quick, and anyone can master this game in under an hour. So it's pretty cool to see that some people are still keeping it alive. Shit, maybe I should run my own tournament for it. Just give me some time to clear up my speech and the enunciation of certain words, and I think I could be a decent party fighting games commentator. You know, I really need to work on the pacing for these videos. No matter how much I try to keep it in mind, I just can't not make these hoes like 30 minutes long for some reason. It's actually quite embarrassing. But I guess I'm already in too deep with this game. I might as well keep it going and wrap it up with this last segment, the characters and story. I'll continue talking my shit to make sure it doesn't get boring though. So the main premise is simple. An evil almighty being invades a magical land called Happy Island, and the people manage to narrowly defeat her and seal her away in the magical cell. Now the 5 kingdoms just need someone capable of finishing the job, so he summons several powerful warriors from across the universe, each one in it for their own reasons, and some of them having a connection to each other. What's interesting though is how the individual stories are told, and an episodic nature where the vibe more or less resembles the genre that said character is a parody of. Let's start with
The ultimate hero, Danzaba!
Sho Mikagami, an all-galactic defense system Space Force officer. Toting the Danzai blade and vice driver in each hand, he comes to his partner Yuri's rescue in the evil zone after she was entrapped there by a local magician. Cause you know, shit just happens. He's accompanied by Yuri's twin sister, Ruri, who provides support from the satellite Sengri. Danzever's presentation is by far the most charming one. His dialogue alone is on a different level of satire from the rest of the cast, and they really know that tokusatsu feel with the over-the-top theme song, wacky episode titles, and the Colonel narrating every episode preview in the most dramatic way possible. Zero Chaku.
Evil destroyed!
I want to talk about this dude's design real quick. It looks pretty sick, and he's obviously inspired by the Metal Heroes brand of tokusatsu, with the closest resemblance I could find being Space Sheriff Gavan. I wish I could show a bit from the actual series, but it's owned by Toei, and they really don't fuck around when it comes to people posting their stuff on YouTube. But anyways, this man Danzever is a man of immense fortitude. Throughout the story, he's constantly getting tossed around by everyone, since I guess a tactical frame can only take you so far against interdimensional beings, and because of this, he barely manages to win each fight. In fact, when he was on the ground ready to cough up blood or some shit, Rory sent a remote control suit that could mimic his every move in an attempt to stop him. Obviously, it did not work, but it's cool that they wrote the mirror matches in each story in convincing ways like this. I'm really not doing the cutscenes justice by just recapping like this. Seeing how goofy the characters interact with each other is the main appeal after all, so just keep in mind there's always a bit more going on. Eventually he slays the lady and saves Yuri. We're on board the satellite to share some more tropey moments, like this shit. It won't stop there, cause something I forgot to mention is that the sisters both have a crush on him. It's pretty wild, right? But before you start thinking that this is gonna turn out like that one feature song, you gotta remember what kind of show this is. Danzever is a man of honor and he does not get distracted easily, unless it's video games apparently. But he knows his purpose, and every single word that leaves his man's mouth is said with an ungodly amount of enthusiasm. If you recognize his voice, that's cause it's John St. John, aka Duke Nukem, or Big the Cat. He's gone on to say that this was the worst voice work he's ever done in his career, but I'd have to respectfully disagree.
The ultimate hero, Danzever! What? I would do anything but fight an unarmed woman.
Setsuna Saizuki is an emo schoolgirl with a mysterious spirit inhabiting her body. That spirit's name is Karen. Karen and Setsuna care a lot for each other. Karen won't hesitate to air out the place if anyone even dares touch Setsuna.
Kaya, I assure you, I'll kill you.
The story is very melodramatic, and she does this in like every chapter along with constant apologies between the two. Thanks to a sapphire ring that the ghost girl had gifted her, Setsuna can enter a powerful form named Guardian Angel, which she calls upon with a heartfelt prayer. And it allows her to wield a sweet blade, the Kalos Solas, which she uses to fight demons back on Earth, of course. And just so we're clear, I'm not putting this out my ass, bro. The lore runs deep with this game, and I'll explain where I'm getting all this from in a bit. But yeah, she's on her magical girl shit, just a bit edgier, I guess. After being summoned to Hyper Seru, Karen is naturally drawn towards Ihaduka, with the reason being that Karen is actually a fragment of her. You see, Ihaduka is actually an astral form who has multiple incarnations across the universe, and each warrior is summoned having met one of them in their own world. It gets crazy, but fuck that, we gotta wrap this up. So when they finally reach her, she tries to claim what's hers, but of course the power of friendship prevails, and our heroes win. But at a cost. To kill Ihaduka would be a kill every part of her, but Karen knows that sometimes you just gotta get shit done, and willingly sacrifices herself for the greater good. Karen is a real one. Except she somehow comes back.
I've been waiting for you.
Boo. Midori is Setsuna's childhood friend, the 28th successor of the ancient Fuin School of Martial Arts. Of course we need our spiky-haired martial artist, even her charges on some Super Saiyan shit. All there really is her is that she just wants to seek stronger opponents, Goku style.
I'll be facing a righteous opponent next week. I think he is living in the past. I'll show him how things are today. So, see you next week on Passionate Midori.
But hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I like her story since it's the most lighthearted one. Full of rowdy ass music, hyping up the next challenger, and answering fan questions along with sharing fan art of her. She's living like Larry. She don't take anything serious, and it's a nice change of pace from the rest of the characters. And that's how it goes. She befriends all her opponents, saves the world, and comes back home safely to her dad. Alright, next. Alti Al Lazel is a young talented sorcerer who was tasked with summoning all the warriors to Hyper Seru, but later has a change of heart, feeling like they should be the ones to fight their own battles. Which is pretty dumb if you ask me. All you had to do was sit back and enjoy the free labor. Well, He goes on his quest to clean up the mess he made and put an end to Ihaduka himself. And when you look at the opposition, you might think this boy's some weak sauce, but he's damn near a court magician. Yes sir, I power scale these people, and I'm pretty sure he's top 3. He just lets his insecurities get in his way, and you know what? I feel that. His journey is pretty much about learning his self-worth, appreciating himself, and realizing what he's capable of. Even the others reassure him of that. So yeah, wholesome top shit, I guess. I'm obviously not very good at describing things, and I'm running out of unique words to fit in this video. Oh, and there's a subplot with his girlfriend too. Aeroplast is a mercenary who dons a magical armor that was entrusted to her by her deceased mentor and friend. Unbeknownst to her, that piece of armor's got a mind of its own. It was created by Kakarine to possess its host, but the spirit of Aero's friend continues to protect her and prevents that from happening. And that's as serious as it gets. Her show is supposed to be all cutesy and shit, but comes off unhinged more than anything. Her and the rest of the characters break the fourth wall when they speak during the previews. At first it's just goofy banter, but the dialogue quickly develops into completely unrelated scenarios. Like her working as a waitress and taking orders from the characters, then trying to sell bamboo sticks on the low, then trying to feed crackers to the homeless.
I don't have any money and I haven't eaten anything for a while. I was just thinking that if I could eat the grass here.
Wow, that sounds suitable for a young lady.
Like bro, what is this game you're in about again?
You'll be dead next week, Mr. Nice Guy.
I guess we're just seeing the world from her perspective. All she cares about is stopping Al from getting himself hurt, and every other thing she does is just a byproduct of that, including saving the entire universe. At least I think that's what's happening.
These crackers taste a little stale.
Kaya of Temple Inn Clan. Aw yeah, fuck the rest of these bum ass characters. Kaya's the real deal. He's just chill as fuck, he low-key don't give a fuck. But really though, his story is my favorite one. He plays the part of a self-help guru, taking in letters and giving advice to the rest of the cast during the previews.
Tonight I have an anonymous letter. Errol's. Oh no, excuse me.
These topics range from relationship advice, alcohol abuse, family matters, how to answer stupid questions, and he even helps someone who's having dark thoughts.
Tonight, this has no address. Is this a pen name or something? She writes, after I kill her, I want to die too. No.
I just think there's something hilarious about how laid back his delivery and choice of words are in comparison to the rest of these exaggerated characters. It makes it seem like he's the only sane one around, but you'll quickly learn that he's anything but that. Cause yeah, him giving free consolation sounds pretty cute, until you realize that he actually slaughters his opponents after. And the way that's implied is not so subtle.
Right here.
In reality, Kaya is a cold bastard who only cares about one thing only. Taking Ihaduka's powers for himself so he can give life again to his closest friend who's near death, a sorceress named Hamika. So to get that done, he needs to stop everyone else from getting there first, and so he hunts them down. This includes seeking revenge on the man that left Hamika in her current state. Yo, this is anime, so we definitely need our broody man in black, and we need someone who fights with cards, cause those are the coolest characters of course. Speaking of his cards, let's talk about one of his special moves. The one where he throws a hex on the ground. Instead of tracking to the sides, the second version of this one is slightly slower, but gives him an entire crystal instantly. You know, the most valuable resource in the game that everyone else has to charge up for. Kinda busted. Kaya is just the illest dog. I say he's top 3 off this alone, for sure. Bro, Kaya is just... Alright, I'll stop glazing this dude. Let's talk about that man Kaya has beef with. Linewell Rainrix is a sick twisted individual, but that's cause he's possessed by a mysterious sword named Shahal that he had stolen from the antique shop. He's lanky, he's occultish, and he's a menace. And I don't mean in a funny way, I mean he's a straight up freak.
You have a great body. It looks truly delicious.
Bro, what?
The ultimate hero, Danzaiba! What? What's this?
All he does is go around feeding Shahal, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit disturbing to see him leave all the lifeless bodies behind. Like, this was meant to be a goofy little game, why you gotta ruin it? Well, Kaya did kill everyone too, but you know how we Aquarius are, sometimes we get a little silly. Now this may startle some of y'all, but Shahal is in fact Lucifer himself. And after he's satisfied with Lai's offerings, he simply absorbs him and calls upon his next pawn.
Master.
And then there's Gally. Fuck Gally. His wife is pretty chill though. As for the last two characters, play the game yourself if you want to figure it out. I'm done. I'm done trying to come up with stupid shit to say. Have fun reading the game's encyclopedia, which is packed with lore expanding on all the characters and worlds, down to trivial details like Al's favorite fish to eat. Even though it's like never mentioned once in the entire game, and I can't think of a single reason why we need to know this, you could tell whoever wrote this was bored. Also, if you 100% this game, you get a congratulations screen, where the cast goes on the dialogue talking about who's the main character and who's gonna be in the sequel.
Ready?
Hey, mission completed! Congratulations!
Hi, I'm the MC for this occasion. I'm the one who was in love with Al.
I feel like I'm supposed to find this cringe, but I'm at the point in my life where I'm so desensitized to it. Like I legit cannot tell what's cringe and what isn't anymore. Somebody needs to lock me up.
That's not true. They chose me as the main character.
No, there are lots of guys in their late 20s who feel nostalgic for a special inspector like me.
But man, they sound so confident that they're gonna star in the sequel. It's actually pretty eerie to hear.
Are you getting ready for a sequel?
What is that?
Never mind. I'm just mumbling.
These poor souls. I wonder if video game characters that belong to a dead series are stuck in some type of purgatory or something.
Well, everyone, are you ready to be in heaven with me? Damn.
Okay, now the video is done. My final verdict, it's pretty weird, but it's alright. I kinda like it. It's tacky like me. Thank you for watching. Peace.